A recent report out in CBS News claims that Joe Biden is trying to look at some options related to canceling student loan debt. Now, let me give you some context here. So, look, recently there was a White House meeting with members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, and they were speaking with Biden. This is according to an article by CBS News, that in this 90-minute meeting, a lot of different things were brought up. Immigration, environmental justice, the midterm elections, as well as the topic of student loan debt. According to the report, when the Hispanic Caucus members mentioned that, the president said he had asked aides to explore his options. And this is their writing, by the way, quote, which is a signal to lawmakers that he may be willing to go farther than he pledged during the campaign. Now, remember, Biden promised to cancel $10,000 worth of student loan debt. He obviously has not done it. Other people have said, okay, let's go 50,000. Bernie Sanders says cancel every single penny. That's the progressive position. So now, there's nothing in this article, as you're going to read, or as you're going to hear, I'm going to read that to you, that suggests that he is going any further than what he promised and not even likely to do what he had promised. Okay, so let's go to the report. Here's what one person speaking on the condition of anonymity who was in attendance, quote, they're looking at different options on what they can do. On forgiving it entirely, that was our request, said one of the lawmakers. All right, so again, the report says he's willing to go further, but in reality, you just have a quote from somebody saying, well, we asked him to go further. Oh, but there's more. According to the report, Representative Tony Cardenas, Democrat of California, who attended the meeting, said the president is open to debt forgiveness, but then offered absolutely no detail. The president had never mentioned an amount, nor did the president say he was going to wipe out all student debt, Cardenas said. He did a dialogue with us about the differential between young people who went to public schools or private schools, and we CHC members said that he should focus on both. And he said, quote, okay, good to know. Yes, that sounds very enthusiastic, and we're going to cancel student loan debt. No. Okay, good to know. Cardenas said he reiterated to Mr. Biden that the Hispanic Caucus supports executive action that would forgive at least $10,000 to student and college debt if Congress cannot pass legislation doing so. Well, Congress ain't passing anything. Congress is where legislation, specifically the Senate, it's where progressive legislation goes to die. The House will pass it, but no, it ain't getting through the Senate because we still have a filibuster. Why? Because the Democrats, didn't want to get rid of the filibuster. They said, no, we're not doing that. We're going to keep the filibuster, and we're going to let the Senate parliamentarian block us from doing anything. Now, in response, in response to what Cardenas had told him, the president just smiled and said, oh, you're going to like what I do on that. I'm looking to do something on that, and I think you're going to like what I do. Oh. Okay, so, wow. Vague quote from the president with no numbers. Just, oh, you're going to like what I do, Jack. Let me tell you, it's going to be great. You're going to love it. Love what? Where are the details? Now, again, getting to my problem here, CBS News is running with the headline, oh, here, the president might be canceling student loan debt. Very important, very exciting. Except that, no, there's nothing here. I mean, except for one thing, and that's marketing. CBS News is helping out Joe Biden by pushing a narrative that he might be canceling student loan debt by August. August, of course, being the end of the moratorium on student loans. So I would be thrilled if there is debt cancellation. But what this feels like is just basically a midterm ploy to string people along. Oh, no, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have this meeting. We're going to leak to the press, which is what this CHC member had done, and push a narrative that he is strongly considering canceling student loan debt. Well, how about instead of doing that, just cancel it? You have the authority. Not only does he have the authority, but it's basically a slam dunk when it comes to Democratic voters. In fact, look, according to a survey from Navigator Research, as this was done back in February, 83% of Democratic voters say, let's get rid of the debt. Let's do something about the debt. And at least partial cancellation. Overall, the American people agree, 63% do back debt cancellation, including 59% of independents and 41% of Republicans. The strongest support came from the black community, understandably so, because they have the most amount of debt. Followed by Hispanics, 72%, Asian Americans, Pacific Islanders, 68%, and 57% of white respondents. Another poll, Harvard Youth, finds that the poll found 85% of respondents support some form of government action on student loans. In fact, of those who want the government to take action, 38% wanted the government to cancel all student loans. That's actually the highest support of any of the different options polled. So again, 27% backed the government helping a little bit. But again, 38%, the highest amount, supported the government canceling it for everybody. Just cancel all student loan debt. Democrats were most in favor of canceling the debt for everyone. 48% backing it versus 20% of Republicans and 39% of independents. So it does really, really well with independents as well. Now, even Republicans, 73% want the government to do something about student loan debt. 38% say they want to help with repayment options, and 15% want debt canceled for some. And like the other poll, like consistent polling, you have a majority, mainly black borrowers who are impacted the most by student loans, wanting to cancel it. 43% of Hispanic and 38% of Asian respondents versus 33% of white respondents. So it's very popular among the American people. Cancel the debt. Cancel the debt. Why is Joe Biden taking so long to figure it out? He can read a poll. It's not stupid. No, look, I have one big answer to that. I've talked about it before. Wall Street. Specifically, student loan asset-backed securities, or SLABs. The SLABs market on Wall Street is huge, worth hundreds of billions of dollars, and those investments are all on the line. They're all at stake. And so, obviously, if you eliminate all student loan debt, or even a portion of it, that's going to have an impact on the markets. Joe Biden loves the markets. Democrats love the markets. And so they're beholden to their donors, the owner donors. Okay? And so there's either a couple of things at play here. And I'm being charitable. He's either waiting for the Wall Street investors, the donors, to give them a number that they think is acceptable. That's not going to impact the slabs market too much, but will allow him to claim some sort of victory in the, or deliver for the voters in some capacity so that they don't get blown out in the midterms. I mean, there's either that, or again, he has already decided to do this and is now waiting up until as close to the midterms as they can get for maximum impact. And by the way, if Joe Biden is going to cancel any amount of debt, it's going to be on the lower end. And so I think at this point, it's somewhat inevitable that some portion of debt gets canceled. 10,000, very, very possible. You know why? Because it doesn't wipe out the slabs market. Now that's $377 billion wiped out in debt for the 45 million Americans that have student loan debt, federal student loan debt. This doesn't do anything with private. And so you wipe that out. That is going to have an impact in the slabs market, but it will not destroy it. And so investors obviously are like, oh, we don't like this at all. I don't know, we really don't want you to do it. And again, that's why it's taking so long for Biden to come to a decision. He's got a way like, oh, you know, my donors really are not going to like this. But then we're going to be blown out. You look at the polls, disaster ahead. And we don't have anything to run on. This is a slam dunk. We got to do something. And so they know they have to do that. They're going to get obliterated. And that's why you see these media cycle, or these media articles getting hyped up in the news cycle. Biden's team, they know the polls. They know there's disaster. And again, they're stuck between not wanting to be obliterated and pissing off the donors. They know they got to do something. Well, let's be clear. Again, if it's going to be something, if they're going to do anything, it's the bare minimum. That's corporate Democrat 101. Which, by the way, understand that the reason I believe he's going to do something about it is that he wouldn't have been kicking the can down the road with this student loan pause, this moratorium on paying student loans for so long. Kicking the can. They're giving them time. Maybe they're giving the markets time to invest in other things, to invest out of the slabs market. I don't know. But again, there's no way he's canceling all of it. There's no way he's canceling 50,000 of it. No, it's going to be 10,000. If he does it at all. And that's out of student loan debt that is almost $1.8 trillion. So say he does cancel 10,000, that's $377 billion of debt knocked out. You still have nearly $1.5 trillion. That does very little. Very, very little. You still have this huge debt problem, but you still also will have the slabs market that can collateralize and capitalize on that debt. So at the end of the day, they're still going to be making some money because there will be no other fixes in the system. If you do not pair debt cancellation with free college, making colleges and universities public, tuition free, then you're not actually fixing the problem. But as we know about Joe Biden, well, as he told his donors, nothing will fundamentally change. And so a Band-Aid to try to save himself and his party in the midterms seems right up his alley. But, and here's the caveat to that even, if he doesn't bungle this. And I say that because I never underestimate the ability for the Democrats to bungle what could be an easy win and good marketing.